Hello, Playdate. This is Don.
This is Nick.
And I'm Ryan.
This week we are covering Playdate news.
Recent indie releases.
And shoehorning in a personal anecdote before Don can shut me down. Okay, so guys, I know I just launched this campaign for my new book. That's not what I want to talk about right now. Actually, the same day I did that, my car broke down and I had to rent a car. And Don, I swear this is pertinent to the show. You ready for this? So this new rental car, I guess I have a Flintstones car because it had all these things I wasn't used to. One of them being constant booping. I would get close to a curb, boo, 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 boo. I would have somebody pull up next to my side, boo, 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 boo. I would breathe in a way that it didn't like, boo, 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 boo. This car was booping all the time, Don. I felt like you on this podcast. So I just want to let you know this experience of mine was not in vain, that I understood the irony. Doesn't mean there will be a boopless show, but I want to say I appreciate you.
I was going to ask if there would be any changes. Apparently not.
Thanks for listening. Let's get started. Nice clean edit there, Nick. You can appreciate that, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I was thinking the other day, if anybody hasn't listened to, is new to the show, basically, they're probably going to think Ryan just has a vocal tick or something.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, Ryan, you have some other personal anecdote to share real quick, hopefully.
Yeah, I do. In fact, it's the first boop news and note. There goes the vocal tick.
There's the tick.
Oh my God, that's awesome. So the first news and note is that I sincerely want to thank the Hello Playdate podcast community for coming out strong to my book launch this past week. Oh my gosh. So this is the biggest, craziest book I've ever made of my entire career. And a number of listeners came in a big way. And I cannot express my gratitude enough. You guys made this happen. And I funded the project funded in 3.5 days. And this was the largest ask of my career. So thank you for making this happen. I just cannot say that enough. So thanks for coming out, everybody. I don't want to name names. There were some folks chiming in the Discord. There were far more folks that did not, that I recognized from the show. So big thank you to everybody.
There will be a link in the show notes if you would like to check out Ryan's book as well. You have until the end of the month to hop on that Kickstarter.
Yeah, thank you, Don. Appreciate it.
Sure. And I also wanted to thank Dylan, also known as Ledbetter, for his Art Oween / Ghost in the Gallery giveaway. He helped us run this past month, running up to Halloween. So on our Instagram and on our Discord, we gave away a few copies of his Art Oween Ghost in the Gallery bundle. So people were enjoying that. And he's always been a big supporter of the show. He was a past guest and hopefully a future guest when Ryan's not here. So thank you so much for your continued support of the show and for sharing your great games with our audience.
Are you insinuating I'm going somewhere?
What?
Is this my last show?
You have a news update over here, right?
Yeah, the next one is from Panic Playdate Twitter account that says, "Get ready for a new Playdate update tomorrow." So probably when this episode airs. Anyway, it's November 8th, 2023. They're talking about. It says to join them for a 12-minute showcase that will introduce the developers from some upcoming Playdate games, plus more fun stuff on the horizon. So what are you guys thinking about more fun stuff on that horizon line?
They mentioned something blue. I don't know what that means. New
Sonic
shell?
is coming to... Oh.
That would be amazing. I don't know if that means a new shell. He said there wasn't going to be hardware things, but so that would be, maybe not. Oh, maybe a new case instead of purple, but purple just goes so well with the yellow.
Yeah, Blue's Clues maybe. Bluey.
I know there is going to be a trailer and release date reveal for Under the Castle. You've been following this one from Danny Diaz?
No, what's that?
It's like that really really great graphically looking game. It looks like it's going to be a dungeon crawler type game. But Nick, you probably remember the movement is similar to Crypt of the Necrodancer, where the characters kind of move in this grid type beat. Yeah, that's getting a release date tomorrow.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Was that on the Playdate Direct recently, or is this something totally different? Which one was that?
It was one of the first ones. I shouldn't say that. I don't know. It was in there for sure. But if you see the art, you'll immediately recognize it. Check out our Instagram. I shared it in our story right now on Instagram.
Okay, cool.
But you'll see it tomorrow during the showcase.
Right on. Yeah, there were a few of those trailers from the community direct that were pretty memorable. I'm trying to remember them right now.
There's so many. There's 40. So
cool.
Yeah.
Well, with that said, you can click-a-macate on the link in our show notes to head over to that 12-minute showcase tomorrow or today, depending upon when you're listening to this. Let's see what else. Way back, taking it back in the Wayback Machine to October 30th. That's like a week and a half back. Panic said there's a 2.1.0 system update that's out, and with it, a small improvement to the Playdate SDK. Nick, I hope you're listening because I only understand a small fraction of this. It says our Playdate UI crank indicator API can now be repositioned, and it honors the display scale factor. Comes in 4 flavors. What does all this mean, Nick?
I'm pretty sure the crank indicator, if you've played a game like Bloom, when it asks you to take the crank out, it has a little spinning crank in the bottom right corner. So I'm pretty sure when you call that now, you can move it to a different part of the screen instead of always being in the bottom right. And it honors the display scale factor. So if you're zoomed in 2x or whatever, it zooms that thing in or doesn't. I'm not really clear on this note what that means. And 4 flavors, no idea. Maybe it's speed. Maybe it's the actual graphic that it shows. I have no idea.
Interesting.
4 different positions, default positions.
Yeah, when you were explaining it, I thought maybe the 4 flavors meant the 4 different non-cardinal directions of the screen, like southwest, southeast positioning or whatever.
I don't know. Repositionable means to me that you could put it anywhere, but maybe it is just the corners. Don't know.
Well, we should also mention another recent update allows the owners now to turn off the notification light on the Playdate.
How do you do this?
It's in the settings.
Walk me through it, Don.
I'm not going to walk you through it, but it was easy to find. It's in the settings.
That's your job, Nick. Come on.
You can turn it off both for catalog notifications and new game notifications separately. So if you still want one of them to blink, you can keep it on. Of course, I turned them both off, and now I can sleep in the same room as my Playdate.
Settings notification light.
I mean, it doesn't whoop.
There you go.
It's just a tiny light. Does it really keep you up?
Yeah, it's legitimately
very
woken
bright.
me up. Yes.
Oh my god!
Multiple
you sound
times.
like my wife.
Inside the case, it's very bright.
What? Even with your eyelids closed over top of your eyeballs?
Ryan, you're the problem when your wife cannot sleep. You're the problem sleeper in that relationship.
There you go.
All right. Well, that sounds like we need to move to the next news and note, which is all about Totally Under Control, who, since the last episode, released Hook, Line, and Sinker, a retrospective on Playdate's first big fishing game. And this was, as it states, a retrospective talking about how the game came to be from Toad. This is totally cool. And this was on Playdate's news site, which brings me to our next news and note, which is Playdate has a news page. What? I didn't know this. I guess there was a how do you say navigation element up at the top that included a word that I didn't read. That word says news. I guess I should have clicked that. So very cool, Toad. Totally awesome. A nice, thorough overview of bringing Playdate's first big fishing game to the platform. Congrats on that. And if you want to go check it out, that Playdate news link is in the show notes.
Yes, it will be. And we should mention that since our last episode, realistic fishing has gotten a pretty decent sized update. And I'll be honest, I have not experienced it yet, but now includes fast travel and a dating mini game, as well as some other features. Oh, there's the buy button that I was having a problem with buying a boat. Now says buy instead of a shopping cart, so it's very clear what's happening on that screen. So all good changes.
Right on, man.
Definitely.
Keeping Toad busy. Excellent. Thanks for all the changes, Toad.
Yeah, and very quickly too.
That's
super impressive.
A mere couple of weeks ago, we mentioned all this.
Indeed. Okay. Next up, my name's not next to it, so I was just going to sit here till somebody poked me. But next up, the Yellow Square Jam is over. It was a game jam that was held last weekend, and there's a bunch of submissions. So we'll go over some of the highlights. There were 14 entries, but we'll go over maybe the winners first. The winner was a game called What the Crow by Lumi, and I did play this one. And the idea is you're a crow, you go into a house and you just start smashing stuff, and you try to smash as much stuff as possible without getting caught. So it's side scrolling, and there are humans walking around in the house. And if they see you, you can hide behind things, but if you don't hide well enough, they can throw something at you. You get hit and it's game over. And so it goes by a scoring
so it sounds
system.
like maybe it's a more of a simple take on Untitled Goose Game a little bit.
Yeah, similar vibe. Yeah.
Okay.
It's side scrolling, but the animation is really smooth. The way you interact with things is much more complex than I would have thought. You're not just like tapping it and then a block falls down. There's like bottles that are falling. The TV takes several hits before it starts cracking and breaks. And I highly recommend giving this a shot. What the Crow was really fun and funny and interesting.
Cool. Hey, I want to take just a moment here to bask in this moment because I made a reference to a 21st century video game. I don't know if you guys caught that, but
yeah. And it's a panic game. So did you know that, Ryan?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, okay.
I did know
that. Is that why you played it?
I had it recommended to me by multiple very nice people in my life. One of them was Nick. Another was a former student of mine, and eventually enough very nice people talked to me about it where I thought, my goodness, this needs to happen. In fact, you know what? I think it was Nick who finally just jammed it in front of my family's face when we were together, and then we bought it after that. So that's the story of me and Untitled Goose Game. Let's move on. My gosh, what are we doing?
I guess I should ask you guys, did you try any of these? I assumed no, but you never know.
I have not, but there are many which have caught my attention, and many created by members in the Helloplaydates Discord.
Indeed.
So very much looking forward to giving them a shot.
Number 2, War is Hair. It's basically it's a worms type game, but with little bunnies, and it's very well done, very polished. So again, give that one a shot. The next one by Alex May is a game called Easy Godding. It's similar to Doodle God. I really wanted to try this, but it kept crashing my Playdate, so I have not checked it out yet. But yeah, it looks really cool. And then just a couple others to talk about real quick. Raise the Flag by Mike Suzak. It's like everybody knows the end of the first stage of Super Mario Brothers. You run up the stairs, you jump, and you go down the flag. The premise here is that you're a guy at the bottom of the flag, and you have to crank the flag to the top whenever somebody's like approaching the flag, and then crank it down. And I was trying to find instructions because I am terrible at it, and I'm not sure what I'm doing right or wrong. And so it works really well, but I just don't know what the rules are. Another one is Suddenly Bird by Fev Games from our Discord. That one was really interesting. You're like a UPS guy, I guess, a delivery driver, a post hero, if you will, and you randomly turn into a bird, which is pretty silly. I would recommend giving that one a shot. Icarus by Gingerbeard Man is sort of a Nick and Ryan game. It's like a high score chaser, and you're just cranking to keep your little bird or your little triangle from touching. I think it's from touching the edge of the screen. You want to fly as close to the edge of the screen without touching it, and you get more points with these tight circles. But the crank is very, very finicky in that game. And then
like
the last one,
intentionally so, or
intentionally so, yes. Yeah.
okay.
The controls are very touchy. And the last one I wanted to mention is a game called Vacuum by Graystar Studio. It's a text adventure with 9 different endings. I've seen a few of them. They're very short stories, and you make different selections, and then that obviously changes with the way the story goes. You're in a little spacecraft, and you're basically just waiting for the radio to call, and you're answering different questions to this radio. And going through one playthrough only takes like 1 minute or maybe 2. So I experienced a couple of them last night, and it was pretty interesting. I highly recommend giving that one a shot. I'm assuming you could play through the whole thing in 20 minutes, all 9 endings. Yeah,
very exciting.
A bunch of other cool games in there. You can try all of them at the link in our show notes.
All right, my prediction is Vacuum for pick of the week in what would that be? 4 weeks
when Nick comes
back. Yeah. Awesome.
It had lunchtime vibes. Yes.
And I love the premise of raise the flag. It, like you said, it's such a ubiquitous video game experience, but to sort of flop it around to, like, I don't know, a worker bee scenario or something. I'm looking forward to trying this.
It's something we take for granted that, there are mechanics to Bowser's the Mushroom Kingdom, I guess.
Totally. Very neat. Cool. Well, thank you for the overview on all that, Don. I've not been able to do much of anything besides campaign my brains out these past couple weeks. So I really appreciate you, looking into all this for me and everyone else listening. Thank you.
Yeah, no, it was fun to keep an eye on it. I think, this is just winners. I think the last thing we have to note is PlayJam 4 starts this weekend, November 10th through 13th. These are always popular, run by possibly Axolotl. So if you want to join, the time is now. Hop on, and if you're too late or if you're not a developer, that's cool. Hop on next week and vote. You can play all these different games next week from PlayJam 4. The link will be in the show notes. It's really easy. Most of the games you'll be able to just download to your Playdate or the SDK, try them out, and then there's a really slick voting ballot type thing built into itch, and your vote can be heard, your voice can be heard.
We are lousy with the jams. Look at all these jams.
Heck yeah,
too many jams to keep track of. All right. So I think that's it for the Jimmy Jams, which means we're up to bitty boop 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 indie inventory, starting with.
So let's just do catalog first, since I didn't label them at the bottom this time. Sorry, guys.
Oh man.
Catalog people get another plug at the top of the list. Space Rap Miner by Star Juice looks really fun. I talked to Ledbetter today, and he highly recommended it. It's $10. It's a roguelike mining game. You go around digging gems, Mr. Driller style, and the maps are procedurally generated. It's got boss battles and whatnot. The art looks really cool. So I have not had a chance to play this yet, but looks great. And there's a leaderboard for some reason on the website. So I don't know how this works, but
it goes from 90 to 1,114.
Yeah. What a spread. The number 10 score today was 20, so people are already cranking at it.
Wow. I have a feeling Blue Monk 12 took the glass off of this game and was moving things around on its own. Anyway,
all the batteries.
Looks super interesting. Very cool. Star Juice.
Yeah, it looks very cool. Next up is Jezak by Optimal Prime Futureworks. We talked about this a couple weeks ago. It was like the Quicks Jezball but it's hopped over from Mitch and is now available on catalog for $8. Still have not tried this one.
Have you noticed that? Okay, I remember talking about this one, and I remember it exploding my mind because it was like it says, like a Quicks type game, but it's crazy fast and like a million balls flying around the screen. And did you notice that on catalog, none of the graphics are animating? I'm wondering if that's because it frightened easily frightenable people like me, or if something's wrong with the animated GIFs. Are you guys seeing this too?
Are you on your Playdate?
No, I'm on
the
desktop.
website. Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I haven't looked on the Playdate. I don't know, but yeah, none of them are working on the desktop. Oh, and it looks like there's scoreboards for every different mode and every level. That's really cool.
Interesting.
Yeah, you're
Time
right.
to get on there. Put some Hello Playdate podcast up there on the scoreboards. Cool, Jezak. And also, here's yet another Hello Playdate podcast bump. Getting them into catalog. Talk about them here first. Then
Which
they
one?
show up on catalog.
Ship shape.
Jezak's.
Oh, Jezak. Sorry.
And then a couple down here, Elena Temple. That was our pick of the week. Whenever I did it, a couple episodes
month ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Fall of Elena Temple now on catalog. $3.
So worth it.
It got a new catalog release bonus here. 3 bonus rooms with new mechanics and dialogues. A new item, a magnet, a new mechanic, pop-up columns. Very cool. So yeah, we all really enjoyed this game. Highly recommend.
Indeed. In fact, I think the words "perfect" were uttered multiple times on that episode,
Does it say
if I recall correctly. Does it? Yeah. I don't know.
No, I don't see it. That's okay.
Cool. Well, it's good enough just to pat ourselves on the back, right?
Pat Grim Talon on the back for making an awesome game.
Yeah. That is.
So we did skip over ship shape.
Yes.
Can you explain this one to me, Don?
What's that?
Can you explain ship shape to me?
Yeah, it's Ship Shape by Highly Integrated Gay Hijinks. We mentioned this one. I still haven't tried it. It was similar to Trapdoors, I think.
Yeah.
Where you have to match the shape and pattern to the order very quickly. I think you're using the crank. Like I said, I haven't played it yet, but it seems like a similar premise.
Okay.
A very fast matching game.
Blockbuster looks similarly like a fast matching game, but I don't quite understand it from the GIFs.
No, this one I've played. It's like Tetris, except you're looking from the top down, and like if you know those puzzles where it's like really weird shaped cubes, and you have to make it into a cube. Like you have to make a cube out of these weird shaped blocks and fit it into a little box.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's similar to that.
Okay.
Yeah, it was cool. It's one of those games I keep meaning to go back to now that I have a better understanding of how it works, because when I was actually playing it, I didn't understand how it worked.
Okay.
So that was $4 by Dar Doyle. That's Blockbuster. And that's all the catalog games this week.
All right.
Very cool.
What else we got going on here?
We don't have to mention all of these, but we had a lot of really high quality games this week. And I promise I cut a lot of games out. But there's a game called...
We've got a light pick of the week this week. So let's talk about them. Done.
From Hiroshidendo presents, butchered that. Crank and Shoot for $5 is a shooting gallery. You got a Gatling gun. It looks like you can upload or update or upgrade your weapons, and different enemies are flying at you. I wish this had a GIF because I'm curious to see what it looks like in motion. But it has a YouTube video. Why did I not? The YouTube video needs to be bigger than the giant thumbnail. What is it? If it's giant, it's no longer a thumbnail, though, right? Anyway, that's cranking.
It's a hand nail.
It's a hand nail. Yes.
Arm nail. Yeah.
It's a hoof.
Yeah. Perfect.
Next up is, what is this?
Chopper Copter?
Chopper Copter. Sorry, the actual logo is really interesting. It's hard to read. But this game looks awesome too. I haven't had a chance to do this one. It's $3.99.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
It's like a doodle jump or a Dungeons and Doggos type thing, but you're damaging enemies as you're going up the doodle arena, and you're scoring points. So you have a copter on the top of your head, and you're going up the, I guess, tower and chopping up enemies. So I think it's like a vertical vertical shooter on the Playdate. So I'm guessing you'll hold the Playdate sideways.
Yeah, it looks like it. I was going to mention that.
Anyway, looks awesome.
I like the wordplay on the itch page. But also, I just want to point out that this was made by Sad Folks.
Very sad folks.
Yeah.
I think
Hopefully
I'm going to
they're
end up buying
less
this one
sad.
tonight. This
Yeah,
looks so cool.
When we each buy a copy, hopefully they'll be less sad.
Yeah. Giving a little happiness bump. Okay. Next up, I think it's worth mentioning Orwellian released another like sound software for the Playdate. This one, Modular Play, $15, and it becomes a music patching like modular software.
Modular synthesizer, yeah.
Yeah, for the Playdate. He's got so many of these things. I don't know if he's got like 8 of them set up on a board that he brings in to shows and just starts DJing on, or what?
Oh my gosh, this is
an entire
insane.
crank set.
It looks like, according to Orlu in one of the comments here, that you can hook up an actual MIDI device like a keyboard or whatever, and it'll convert the MIDI values from something that you compose into compiled Lua packets that are sent over USB.
What?
And it'll play the music back using synth in this application. This is insane and really cool. And far beyond my understanding.
Your comment is beyond my understanding.
It looks really cool.
Unbelievable. And the interface looks completely insane too. It's like this giant graphic that you like scroll around up, down, left, and right, and then as your cursor hovers over some portion of modularity, a little dial of some sort, then I'm guessing that you move it slightly with the crank. Maybe I haven't played this, but it's kind of what it looks like all these pedals laid out in front of you. It's wild.
Yeah, so that would change the playback, the sounds in real time of that MIDI composition that you're playing back.
That's insane.
Yeah, this is really neat audio stuff. So the $15 price tag makes sense to me. Cool.
It's crazy that like $15 for anything else, we'd be like, oh yeah, that's nothing, whatever. $15 PS4 game or something. $15 is nothing. I don't know. Like literally, I looked at a box of cereal this weekend on the shelf, and it was $9.99 for a box of cereal, which is kind of high for a box of cereal, but still, it's like we're kind of in a ballpark where $15 is still a great value for software you're going to use a lot or play with for hours.
Absolutely, and especially utility software like this that you can use to make the Playdate be an instrument. Hook it up and have the output wired into a sound system or something. I don't know, but it's really neat. And yeah, Don, I don't know if you knew this, but Halloween's over, so you can't get those monster cereals as easily anymore. That's really
that's why
the deal.
Going up on the secondary market, huh?
Yeah.
That Magic Spoon's a racket, I think, is what.
You might be able to get some used Choco Berries or something.
Oh,
little discount.
I've got a rabbit out front that makes them for me. Anyway.
Okay.
Taxi Trouble by Jex.
Gosh. These gifts are, I don't know if I should be disturbed or continue laughing. It's like...
I like that the blood splatters and the tire skid marks are different colors. At least it's
legible,
it's kind of like Crazy Taxi, but this one, Sega, it wouldn't let you run over people. This one, you can run over people and splatter them. You can earn different hats. You're picking people up and then dropping them off. There are no buildings, I guess. It's just like a big empty lot. So maybe that will happen in Taxi Trouble too. But man, this looks fun, doesn't it? Like the gifts.
It does. I like how one of the instructions says, "Try not to kill anyone."
And then in the yellow years, just blood splatters.
Right.
So,
oh man,
you know what you're getting with this one, with the giant gifts, and it's $4.
So tell me about the next one, Don. What's it called? Puzzle Land. I'm looking at the images, and it looks very intriguing.
Yeah, it's a remake of a Game Boy game.
Oh, that explains it.
Yeah.
It looked kind of familiar. Daedalian Opus.
Yeah, Puzzle Road, I guess, was the original name. This one I have downloaded but haven't played, and I don't know, just looks fun. Like you're trying to fit the pieces into the box. It's a Professor Layton luggage puzzle, basically. Or was it Resident Evil inventory puzzle?
Yeah.
I don't know, it looks
Very
fun. I
cool.
don't know, it looks cool. And then if
Yeah.
you buy it, it also comes with the Windows version, which is neat.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's name your own price. So I do want to check this out. I'm a little nervous about how well it'll work on the Playdate because of the cursor. Like you have to move a cursor around, but since it was a Game Boy game, same controls, I'm sure it's fine.
Yeah, I
Don't be
just looked
worried,
up
Tom.
some screenshots of the Dailian Opus, and man, it looks real faithful. I'm not familiar with this game, but now I'm intrigued.
Cool. Well, let's give it a shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next
right.
up, I've played this one. Oh, sorry, Nick. Go ahead.
I was going to say next, Coin Exchange Craze,
Yes.
which is $2, and it's made by Yangman.
Yangman. He used the word roguelike somewhere in here. Yes, it's going to be a roguelike. It says near the bottom. All you have to do is say that, and I'll buy your game. So at first, I did not understand what was going on. The controls are a little weird, but yeah, you're just stacking coins, and then they disappear. So you collect. I think you have to have at least 4 coins to make a match. So you have 4 $1 coins. You stack them together. You make a match, and you earn. Oh, this says 5. I'm sorry. The scoring is right here on the screen. So 5 will create $5, a $5 coin. Basically you're just making matches, but since you're using money, it's easy to do the math. 50-cent coins, 5-cent coins, etc. But they're constantly moving towards you, like one of those coin machines at Dave and Buster's or whatever. Yeah, it's a real simple premise, but I like the idea of, oh yeah, we're going to be adding more modes, and the mode this here is still fun. So it maybe moves a little too quick. Like if you really don't know what you're doing, the game will be over in like 10 seconds. So you got to start making matches real quick. But yeah, it's cute. What is the
interesting? I wonder if one of the things they're going to add are quarters, because they've got nickels, dimes, 50-cent pieces, $1, $5. I don't see quarters in there. I don't see 25 cents in there. Maybe that was well, it said 1 times 5. Yeah, okay, that makes 5 cents. Yeah, maybe it was some sort of difficulty of multiples of 10. You can't have 2.5 10-cent pieces to make a quarter.
Oh.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know.
Cool premise though.
What was the other one? Was it Money Puzzle Exchanger or something? Was that the Phase game? You're not sure. Anyway, it reminded me of that game.
I like Ryan thinking like a developer over here.
Oh my god, you guys. I'm so weary over here from this book campaign. It's taken a lot out of me. Nick, I swear I think you're gonna have to switch roles with me this episode, and I'll try being the understated and thoughtful host.
I
almost said that with a straight face.
I'll be the boop guy.
There you go. Let's do it.
No.
High
Nick,
five. Tag.
No.
You're it. You can do it.
Let's wrap this up here. We got a chess game. Oh.
Yeah. Chess. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's chess.
People have been asking for this for a long time though. No. People have been asking for a chess game for a long time.
Yeah,
it's cool. Hard to code a chess game, I guess, because of the AI.
Yeah, a good one.
Right.
That's for sure.
So is this a pass back and forth 2-player experience?
Play against the
computer. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And you can choose black or white. This is really neat. Very cool. And it's made by exactly. It's made by Dragon Man Lagan.
So this is crazy, but evidently it was published a day ago, updated an hour ago. So since this is still very, very fresh from old Dragon Man Lagan, man, would it be cool to have a 2-player passing back and forth mode? I'd love to take my Playdate somewhere and be able to play with my son. Or
Ryan's never satisfied.
I know it's true. Ryan, I was thinking it'd be cool if they made a game called chess and it was actually just checkers. Like you fire it up and it's a completely different
How
game.
about 2 bytes at a time? A book called that. That would be neat.
How about I just leave
All right.
now, guys? I can tell when I'm not wanted.
No, yeah, a pass back and forth would be fun. For those of us with friends or family, I guess. But Don and I are over here just playing against Playdate. Sorry.
Ryan's bragging about his friends and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, my
loved ones. All right.
So did you guys hear about this other game?
Yeah, and the one that Nick
Loopwood?
played.
Did you play
Go for it?
Oh,
I did. I played Loopwood, and it's supposedly
not.
like I did. It's supposedly like Loop Hero, which I have not played. But
I
don't know.
Not this one.
I was going to ask you, Don, if the mechanics were the same because I figured you had played Loop Hero. In this one, you start by a campfire and you turn the crank one way to change the values of 2 different icons on the left side of the screen, and you crank it the other way to change the values of icons on the right side of the screen. When the campfire extinguishes or when you press the A button, your character runs around the campfire in a counterclockwise direction and crosses all 4 of the things, and they can be helpful or they can be hurtful. The idea is you're trying to collect as many treasures as possible. And at the end, you get some kind of ranking and maybe the game continues. I've played it a handful of times and my maximum is 4 treasures so far. You have essentially 3 screens or I think it's 5 attempts in order to collect those 6 treasures. So you can collect treasures either from treasure chests by walking over a key as the last item before walking over a treasure chest, or by murdering some kind of helpless monster by collecting a dagger or poison on your dagger and then walking over the monster. So it's a fast-paced, quick, interesting game. I like the mechanic and the ability to kind of quickly rotate in either direction and change the outcome of your little saunter across the map. But the one weakness is that it's not chess.
But it does have variable saunter, so you got to give it that.
It does. Anyway, I recommend it, and it's free. It's developed by.
This is free?
AARE. It is, yeah.
This looks way too good to be free. What are you thinking, AARE? This looks great. Okay, I'm downloading it before he changes his mind.
I don't know if it was a jam game or this is just like the beginning of what they plan to do with the game or what exactly, but it's really fun.
It says it's a jam game. Halloween game jam in some other language. I don't know what this game jam is, but yeah.
Yeah, it's marked as a prototype. So they might flesh it out a little more. As it sits, I find it very fun. I've only played it a handful of times, so I don't know what happens if you collect, enough treasures. But there's a very obvious mechanic at the end where you're trying to acquire a certain number of them. So anyway.
Looks like they assembled a nice little team to make this thing. Several different folks here. One person dedicated to art. So Lean Kunap, nice work on the art here. Game mechanics look solid and fleshed out too. Really cool, man. Can't wait to try this one.
Yeah, it's fun. Let me know when you've got 400 treasures, Ryan. I would. Like to know what happens.
Is that what you're up to now?
No, I'm up to 4.
Okay.
But I know you'll have that beaten in no time. So, yeah,
something to shoot for.
Recommended. What's next,
Don? This is breaking news. The yellow Square Jam had no theme, but Fev says a bunch of us just like birds. Okay. All right,
you heard it here first.
Yes, back to Indie Inventory. The Rabid Banana released a game called Calm Sea. It is name your own price, and It's for the Autumn Lisp Game Jam 2023. It looks like on my page they took the pictures down, but it was a bunch of pictures of a mermaid swimming around. Does your page have pictures on it?
No.
Oh, well, before we started recording, it looked like a cool game about a mermaid swimming around and doing mermaid stuff. So anyway, if it's still out, check that out. If not, this is a really exciting time in the podcast. All right.
So the interesting thing.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you first.
Oh, here we go again. So the GIF that I see on mine for column C takes a minute to load, but then there's a little dolphin-y mermaid character swimming around the sea. Maybe it just takes patience. I don't know.
I had to click on it to make it actually animate.
Give it a good click.
It's got a white page.
Oh, really? Yeah, I've got a GIF.
Yeah, I do too. Well, let's not troubleshoot itch.io.
Best
but what I wanted
podcast
to say,
ever.
Yeah.
The interesting thing is that this was written in Fennel and then transpiled to Lua. So it was actually written in an entirely different language and then cross-compiled.
And then transcribed in Basil and then
Nick just makes this stuff up, I think.
In time.
It's written right on the page.
Little Rosemary.
But I was wondering
update.
how a Lisp Game Jam game could be for the Playdate, which is definitely not Lisp friendly system at the moment, at least through the SDK. So
yeah, Ryan and I were talking about that.
It's cool
earlier.
We were?
Yeah. Whatever Nick's talking about now. Okay, that last game is called Go Noodle by Slow Flow. It is another snake type game, but this one looks really interesting because it has power-ups and the snake is very, very thin. Like this is a good size snake for the Playdate, I think. Not that super fat, chunky snake we were looking at a couple weeks ago where I was dying immediately. Anyway, I bought this one. I have not tried it yet. I just bought it today because it just came out today. But you can also hit the bounds of the arena and wrap around.
Yeah, I noticed that in the GIFs, and I feel like we've had another snake-like game that does this like move anywhere you want with the crank thing. Am I mistaken in that?
No, you're right. It was a very early.
It was a 2-player game.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't remember the name.
I don't either.
Wire hangers or something like that. It reminded me of something about hangers.
Yeah. I remember that mechanic just really breaking my brain. Like I'm used to Snake being cardinal directional movement. And when that was happening, it did not compute for me. So Don, I'll be real interested to hear what you think about this anywhere you want to go mechanic.
Yeah. I'm into this. I left a message and the dev said they were looking at adding more power-ups and whatnot. So still in development.
Cool.
But
Very
looks
cool.
fun. Yeah. Okay, we're done.
Huzzah! Okay. All right, Nick, you're up for our transition. Remember, we're switching personas this week.
Okay. So here we are at the pick of the week, and it's called Space Escape by Claptic. It's
Good man.
Name your price.
Give him hell. No.
So Space Escape is a pretty straightforward score chaser. You're in a spaceship and you're moving from left to right, and the screen auto scrolls, and you use the crank to move your spaceship up or down to hit these temporal wormholes. What are they exactly? Do you know?
Warps, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's
Warp
what they're called.
rings is what they're called. Yeah.
Warp rings. Thank you.
There you go.
Each one is counted on the screen as you hit it. And if you miss one, then your whole screen speeds up a little bit.
Wait, what? So, is that why it speeds up?
Yes.
Yes.
If you keep hitting them, then you keep going the same speed?
Yeah.
Oh!
It's the whole mechanic, right? So
wait, he eats the power pellets and that's how the ghost turn blue?
I told you guys I'm weary this week.
Right. You got a good excuse. It's all right.
Yeah, we'll give you a break.
Yeah. Got a free
So
pass.
let's see. There's a bunch of different obstacles. There's little meteorites. Is that right?
There's
When they're in outer
meteorites?
space?
No, I'm just kidding.
Yes, there's little like space debris,
Or are
and then
they
there's
asteroids?
comets or something. Yeah, asteroids.
And you can hit those things and you'll blow up. So you don't want to do that. You want to get all the warp rings and you want to avoid all the other stuff. And it can be quite tricky, but the controls are very responsive. That's one of the things that I really enjoy about it. And the graphics are very easy to read, I think, at a glance. So without coloring your perception too much here with my thoughts, Don, what did you think?
Well, initially I thought that the asteroids were power-ups, and so I was dodging all the little things, and I was like, "Oh, right on, let me grab this thing," and then I died. I didn't play it for the first week or so, well, the first several days, but people were already talking about it on Discord, and they had already cheesed the system, and very early on figured out ways to like get very, very far in the game without touching the controller and whatnot. So this was an interesting game because the community or our Discord community like came together to break the game, and then got the dev involved and whatnot. And so it's not often that we make like an oddball choice that isn't high profile, and then it becomes something that everybody gets involved with. So that was kind of fun, and it was fun. There was so much talking, I didn't keep up with the conversation. I didn't even notice the dev was in there making comments for a while. But yeah, my basic feeling was when I sat down and played it was I love how responsive the controls are. It's very easy to tell what's going on if you're not Ryan, and you just go through, try to hit the rings, and you can tell just one-to-one what's going on with the crank and the spaceship. Miss stuff except for the comets. I kind of wish there were power-ups or something to keep you going, but there's enough of a hook there. Like, okay, I can see a little number growing the further I get, and I know that I need to aim for the rings. Like Superman 64, that's the goal of the game.
Right.
So I just kept going, and it's
in two
fun.
dimensions. Yeah.
I don't have the skills. Like, I know Nick doesn't have the time, and Ryan is very, very good at this type of game where he does have that Twitch skill. And so I knew like I wasn't going to be able to put up a score to compete with you guys. And so I was just kind of having fun with the game, and I wasn't really pushing myself to get a monster score. But it was
and
still
that's how you got 160.
Yeah. No, it was still a fun little like, oh, I'll hop on and get I don't think I even got to 20, but I'll get 15 or whatever, and then hit the wrong thing and blow up. So yeah, it was cool.
Very good. And Ryan, what did you think?
Yeah, I thought this was a really fun score chaser. It's one of those games that's exponentially more fun when you have someone to play it against. And by against, I mean somebody to compare scores with. So, in my case, often that's Nick, but with our wonderful Discord server, it's our listeners too. And Dino was in there racking up scores. My highest score I got was 30, and I achieved that seconds before we pressed the record button tonight. I think I was at like 29 before that, but I did make it into 30 right before we started recording. Anyway, Dean made it into 40s, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe did he even get to 50? But
I think he got like 53.
Oh man, that's unbelievable.
Way up there. Yeah.
So I was under the impression that the game just sped up the longer you lasted. So like if you get up to 25 but you're not missing any, then it's still going to be pretty speedy compared to where you started. But is that not the case?
That's not the case. No, it should remain at a fairly consistent speed as long as you're hitting all the rings.
Well then, I guess I must be missing warps. Interesting. Okay. Well, I'm glad that's clarified. And I mean, just echoing what others said about the responsiveness, I liked how you could really crank on this ship. I mean, it's a horizontal scroller, and so you think kind of like, I feel like I typically think of that sort of movement as like being pulled by a boat. You're kind of like weaving back and forth, but there's not like extreme movement. Like you can't go at a 90-degree angle from straight usually, but on this game you can really crank that down hard and get some extreme movement going on. You cannot go backwards, but you can go nearly at a 90-degree angle from the direction you're moving, which I think is really interesting and helpful for some of the really tight squeezes you have to get through for these power-ups. I mean, asteroids. So I think that's all I had to say right now. Felt like there was something else.
Did you guys see like Clover mentioned in the thread that he was trying to do a 360 and couldn't pull it off?
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's because you can't go backwards, right?
Here's what I found.
Oops. It feels like there's enough space. Yeah, Siri wants to help out. It feels like there's enough space that you could. Like, I get why he was trying it, or they were trying it.
Yeah.
But
well, you can actually flip your ship around.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't travel backwards, but it feels loose enough that you could, right? Well, isn't that a 360?
Yeah. I mean, you can literally turn your ship backwards and go all the way around. That's a 360, right?
Yeah, then what were they not doing?
No idea. I didn't catch that part of the conversation.
I didn't think you could
best podcast ever.
I didn't think you could go above 90 degrees. No, you can go 360. I just tried it. Yeah. I've done it about 400 times now.
We're publicly shaming Clover.
That's a pretty effective strategy, actually. Interesting. Well, yeah. So a couple of notes, because Clactic joined our Discord and started talking with all the members about the game. First off, congratulations to Clactic, because he mentioned that he got married.
Hey, congratulations.
Last week. So, I mean, that's fresh. And we all badgered him into...
That was right about the time we all started bagging on him, right?
Yeah. What a gift.
Oh, my God. What are we doing?
We're trying to warm him up.
Yeah.
So,
congratulations from all of us.
Oh, my gosh. I had no idea. Sorry, Clactic. Why did... how did he even hop into our Discord at that time? Was he on his honeymoon?
I don't know. Anyway. But one thing I can say is that he's very responsive to feedback and has been listening and is planning an update. So, nothing certain at the moment, but he has mentioned a couple different things that he thought were good ideas and ways that it could improve the game, including, in particular, changing the way the collide rectangle works when rotating the ship. So that would introduce a way different method of control and really tighten up the game, I think. So that's really cool. And as part of that, right before they joined, Scenic Route Software ran Space Escape in the simulator with collision box rendering enabled and showed exactly how the collisions work in the game currently. So if you're curious, that's actually posted within our Discord.
Yeah, there'll be a link in the show notes to hop over to the Discord because he made a video of it that shows the little pink triangle or pink rectangle floating around. Pretty cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. And that's a feature of the SDK. If you're ever curious about how different games handle collisions or how they handle rendering, you can actually see that. So shall we get into Discord comments?
Sure, may as well. Why don't we start out with Dino, who chimed in saying that Space Escape is an unassuming and addictive high-score chaser. It's a fun game with a simple premise. With some polish and flair, I think it could elevate itself to stand shoulder to shoulder with similar season titles. So, we've made it our pick of the week, so consider this our Hello Playdate podcast bump. Get ready to see this in catalog update number 18 in a few weeks, right?
Yeah, sure.
That's how it goes.
Mm-hmm. Don't pressure anybody. The guy's on his honeymoon.
Yeah. Don't put extra pressure on him, Ryan.
Yeah.
So next up, Clover. Just some light Clover thoughts of all the infinite runners I have taken a crack at on this device, which honestly isn't a huge amount. This is the first one that I felt really takes into consideration the nuance that the system crank gimmick promises for this style of game. It feels real good to squeeze your way through tight spots to reach a warp gate or to give one you passed a quick little love tap with your behind. I think it feels like the skeleton of a bigger game rests here. So, yeah, pretty nifty game.
Nicely said, Clover. Thank you.
What are we taking turns? Marco Hutchins says, my short thoughts for the podcast are, it's not the type of game I gravitate towards, but the crank controls felt good and it was a fun little diversion.
Marco Hutchins.
Well, very good. I have to agree, everybody. It's a fun little game. And Clactic, thanks so much for jumping in and
on your
listening
honeymoon.
Listening to all this feedback, taking it in, and potentially working up an update. I'm excited to see how this game evolves, if it does, and looking forward to playing it some more. I was just playing it before the podcast because I just find it super fun. So very cool.
Yeah. Were you going to mention that he has some ideas for things he wants to add to the game, and that he posted in the Discord? So yeah, take a peek at the pick of the week channel, which is going to change here momentarily, but the old comments will be there. And he mentioned things like adding different point multipliers and whatnot, different sound effects. So some pretty cool ideas he's working on, or could be working on.
Yeah. Speed selector at the title screens. Yeah, all this is in the Discord, but very cool of Clactic to cruise in there and chat about the game and its strengths and weaknesses and be so receptive to all this feedback. That'll serve you well in married life. So great job, Clactic. Congratulations on a fantastic game and a fantastic marriage, I'm sure. So I think that wraps up our pick of the week, which brings us to our preview of our pick of the week in another 2 weeks, which is for me. And thanks to Discord user Marco Hutchins for suggesting Woodland. Woodland is a bite-sized little pulpy RPG game that I actually hopped on our Discord and I said, hey everybody, do you have any like small games? Because I'm at a point in my life immediately where I have very little time and I'd love like just a quick point chaser or something like that. And honestly, this is not the type of game I thought we might be playing, but it was just bite-sized enough where it really tickled my fancy. So anyway, I should probably save all that for next episode, but Woodland is what you can start playing in the meantime.
Yeah, I actually finished this game last week, and I will recommend listeners, if you can hear my voice, pick this up and play it. It takes about a half hour, probably less, and the same your own price. So play it now so you can join the conversation in 2 weeks.
Sounds great.
I heard your voice.
All right. Well, are we ready to sign off?
It's up to you, Nick.
This is so smooth.
You can email us, Nick?
You could email us at helloplaydatepodcast@gmail.com.
Wow. You can also find us in the show notes on Discord, playdatepodcast.com, or on Instagram at helloplayDate.
Okay. So you all just
what
just a quick
happening?
I don't know.
Quick,
you guys are being all weird.
Quick anecdote to get closer to the end of the podcast.
We love anecdotes.
We're at exactly 1 hour. Yes, go ahead.
Okay. All right. Here it is. 10 seconds. I met up with famed Playdate game dev, Scenic Route Software.
Stop bragging.
Well, I won't. I'm going to hopefully have that, written on my official stationery and everything. But no, Scenic Route Software, super duper cool, and really enjoyed getting to hang out with them, and they even got to try Drained, the pinball game that I make.
Drainedpinball.com.
Correct. So that was really cool, and you got to play it at the location where the game actually is at the moment. So it's a big deal to me. It doesn't sound like a big deal, but it brings me untold joy to be able to see people play a game that I've made and hear their thoughts on it and everything. So very cool, and it was so great to meet and hang out with Scenic Route Software and talk about game dev and being in different types of bands and stuff, and just all kinds of interesting little anecdotes. So very, very fun. And that does it for my little anecdote, I think.
That's really
so cool. That is really cool. Yeah. And as if my cross stitch didn't destroy our impartiality enough, now it's certainly blown out of the water. But we love your games, Scenic Route Software. Nice to be able to have one of us hang out with you at least. That sounds like a very cool meeting, Nick. Thanks for letting us know. And by the way, since we're at the end of the show, I'll just say onebiteatatimebook.com. Thank you so much for everybody for bringing this to fruition. But if you haven't jumped on board yet, you still have the rest of the month to hop on the Kickstarter for my big oversized hardcover art book, One Bite at a Time. And you can find it at onebiteatatimebook.com.
Yeah, and I also wanted to mention that I'll be playing the new Yakuza game later on this week, and I've been enjoying Dan the Diver. If anybody else wants to hear me talk about video games, they can do so on the Hello Playdate podcast every 2 weeks, right here. Is that cool?
New Yakuza game is it?
Yeah, and like a Dragon Gaiden. The Man with No Name comes out Friday. Really? Come on, Nick. Okay. Quit with this pinball trash and get back on the Yakuza train with me.
I'm making a new game, and
is it Kiryu based?
It is.
Or is it Majima based?
Well, you make the choice at the beginning.
All right. Let's make the choice. Take this conversation off air.
Indeed. This has been episode number 43 of the Cringe Cast. Thank you for tuning in today. We will see you in a couple weeks.
Bye.